Okay. Hi, everybody. I want to welcome you to the Resident and Family Support Council meeting that we hold on the second and the fourth Tuesday of every month at 3 o'clock. We use the same Zoom link for every single solitary meeting, so keep that link handy so that it makes it easy for you to be able to join us. And also do feel free to share that link with anybody that you would like so that they can join us in these meetings as well. Our purpose of our meetings is to really help empower people. And we do that by providing information that can help navigate the long-term care path that we know can be a really difficult path to navigate. And we talk about a variety of different topics. And we also understand that not everybody can always attend these meetings at our 3 o'clock time on the second and the fourth Tuesday. So we record them and we put them on our YouTube channel. So you can always just find that information by going onto YouTube and putting in IL space LTC Ombudsman, Illinois, sorry, IL LTC Ombudsman, and it should come right up for you. And on there right now, I think we're almost at 100 videos that we have on that page. And there's a variety of different topics, anywhere from learning about advanced directives to understanding the different rules that happen within long-term care, as well as things about residents' rights. We focus a lot on residents' rights because they're really important. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I'll be introducing a resident, Scott Mitchell, in just a minute. But before we go ahead and I talk specifically about the residents' rights one by one, what I would really like to do is let me start first sharing my screen. And let's see, get that happening properly. Scott, are you seeing it okay? Are you seeing it the way we've shown it? Oh, wait, I don't think I did share the screen. Well, let me try it again. Okay. Okay, now it should be shared. I hope it's being shared properly. You should be able to just see the screen without any notes on the side. So, what I would like to do right now is just to share a little bit of the history about Residents' Rights Month. Residents' rights actually is really deeply rooted in advocacy that nursing home residents themselves came together feeling that rights needed to happen. And then U.S. Congress actually recognized this, and so they passed this as part of the regulations, the guidance for long-term care communities. So this is a national movement that happened over 30 years ago. And this month was officially designated in honor for October, is officially designated to honor all residents that are living in long-term care, and those also that are receiving home and community-based services. And the purpose of residents' rights is to really promote that dignity and choice and celebrating that for everybody who lives in a long-term care community. Because everybody, all residents, have the right to self-determination and to use their voice when making their own choices. This year, the theme for residents' rights is "Stand with Me," and that what this does is it really is was selected to emphasize the importance of that solidarity and support for residents who stand up and advocate for their rights, as well as the value of encouraging the community to join in sharing their voices. And what this does is it aims to foster an environment then where residents in the community can lean on each other for support when faced with challenges in long-term care, adapt to that change, and grow stronger together. The theme, Stand With Me, is part of a really broader effort to empower long-term care residents, their families, and their advocates as they seek quality care and services, quality of life, and protection of their rights. And because of this, I've invited Scott Mitchell, a resident in a nursing home in the Chicagoland area, to join us to talk about what residents' rights means to him. Scott has been a resident, and he also stands up for not only his rights, but also for others that live in his community. Scott, can you unmute your microphone so that you can talk? You're muted still right now. We can't hear you. I'm joining Scott just to let you know is his ombudsman is with him today, Beverly Nunley, who is there to help make sure that Scott can get onto the call okay. So it's still muted, Scott. I'll let you know when it's not muted anymore. There we go. You're not muted.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, Scott. How are you doing today?
Doing well, doing well. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm excited to have this conversation with you because I know I'm speaking with you in the past. I know you've been a resident in a long-term care community for how long now?
Next month will be 9 years.
Wow, 9 years living. And has it been in the same long-term care community or have you lived in a couple of different ones?
Um, I've been here in the same place for 9 years, but when I stopped working in 2013, in 2014 and 2015, I was in short-term um disability. I was on short-term disability and was going through rehab. And then I came into long-term care.
Okay, okay. And what was that experience like for you moving into a long-term care facility?
Well, it was not easy. Because to be honest, I thought that my wife at the time, when she woke me up that morning and got me out of the house and into the car, and it wasn't easy to do that. When she brought me to this facility, I thought that we were going to a hotel or something. But it wasn't that.
Hmm.
And I was disappointed. I was a little shocked that was leaving home and going to be in a facility. Now, I'm reminded by her that um, I did say that I wanted to go to such a place, but I never remembered that at the time.
Okay. And do you mind me asking, what was it that brought you to the long-term care facility that what was the issue that happened with you that you needed advanced care?
Yeah. So I have secondary progressive right now. It's secondary progressive multiple sclerosis. It was relapsing remitting, and I was diagnosed with that in December of 2004. And I was working my corporate job, walking around and walking to work and everything. And as my walking got worse, I finally was in a wheelchair, went to work in a wheelchair, but then that became too hard. And
Mhm.
then 3 years later, I needed to come here because my wife at the time just couldn't take care of me the way I needed to be taken care of.
Wow, I mean, and so many people that I've spoken with in the past, they never thought that this was their long-term plan to move into a long-term care community. And I can
Yeah.
imagine how that would feel.
Yeah, it was surprising. It wasn't easy. It took me years to actually accept it. And once I accepted it, I was fine, but it took time. And I was still, outgoing and talking to people like I normally do,
Hmm.
but it was just the change in environment. I was no longer gonna be in the same house as my wife. I was going to be taken care of by other people.
Hmm.
So, there wasn't going to be the kiss goodnight, you know.
Yeah.
So you had to get used to it. you know.
Yeah, it's yeah, and and I appreciate you, you sharing your experience because it is I just I to move from home and to move into a facility, where there's rules and there's regulations, and you don't have the autonomy that you had when you were at home. I mean, that is why residence rights truly exist. And that's why I invited you to have this conversation, because I know as being someone who's lived in a long-term care community for 9 years, you've gone through a variety of different emotions and abilities
Yeah,
to advocate. And so that's why I really wanted to make sure that you could help share from your perspective what residence rights really is all about. Um,
sure.
so just to get started right now, I wanted to show everybody that is on the Zoom call and hasn't called in. There's a booklet called Residence Rights for People in Long-Term Care, and you'll see that there's a QR code on the screen as well. And if you hold your camera up to that QR code, you should be able to access all our residence rights material, including this booklet. And also know that we have residence rights in a variety of different languages. I think it's at least 10 different languages. So if you know somebody who does not speak English, you can also go onto that site to be able to download a copy for them in their language of choice. So this is an important thing for people to have as they move into long-term care. And if you can't access the QR code for any reason, put your email address in the chat, and I will make sure that we send you a residence rights booklet so that you can have your very own booklet to have by your side. And this could be for you if you have somebody that you love in long-term care, if you live in long-term care, you're thinking about long-term care, or you work in long-term care, or you just work in the aging network. Anybody who would like a copy of this, please don't hesitate. Put your information in the chat, and I'll make sure that I get you a copy. So let's just start with what the rights are in the broad categories, okay? So these are the rights that are listed on your screen. I'm going to go ahead and read through those rights. And then as I'm reading it, Scott, I'd like for you to think about if any of these resonate more for you than another. And
Okay.
anybody else on the call as well, feel free. If you feel that there's anything in here that you want to probe into a little bit further, please feel free to also unmute your microphone. It's hard for me today because I am doing this solo. All my partners who are usually working in the background are at a conference today. So if you put it into the chat, I will be trying to pay attention. If you put a question into the chat, I'll be able to try and get that answered. But I'm not trying to neglect you if I don't. Do always feel free. You can raise your hand or you can unmute yourself and ask. Just say, excuse me, and ask the question, okay? So the rights for long-term care, your rights to dignity and respect, your rights to safety, your rights to participate in your own care,
That
your
one
rights
I'd
to,
like to speak up on.
you'd like to
So,
speak on that one? Okay, you want to
yes,
go ahead and share your rights to
sure.
participate in your own care?
Yeah. So that was important to me for a long time ago, and I um sorry, people are walking in the room. I was it was important to me to be a part of my own care um because I have so much going on and
Hmm.
no one would know what's going on if I didn't tell them. I may not have my body, but I've got my mind, I've got my eyes, and I've got my mouth. So as long as I can speak up, I'm going to participate in my own care.
I love that. Like you said, you might not be able to do it, but you can definitely direct it and you can get it done the way you want to get it done. I could see that being a very important right. There's also a right to privacy and confidentiality. There's rights regarding money and personal property. There's rights for paying for your care and getting Medicare and Medicaid if you can't afford to be paying for your care. You have rights to stay in the facility and your rights as a citizen and a facility resident. Your rights do not go away just because you entered into long-term care. Um, and so let's dive into these a little bit more. Okay. So the first one
Okay.
really is your right to dignity and respect. When it comes to dignity and respect, you have the right to make your own decisions, to be treated with dignity and respect, and to be cared for in a manner that promotes your quality of life. And also, you have that right. The facility must provide equal access to care, regardless of diagnosis, condition, or payment source. So, does anything there resonate with you, Scott?
Yes, I was fortunate, really fortunate that my wife at the time brought me to a place where they did treat me with dignity and respect. Um, the building was opened 9 years ago. So it was brand new built. I think she told me I was the eighth person on the floor. So um, that's how few residents were, how many residents were in the building, that I was the eighth person on the floor to enter the building. Um, and everyone, they they looked me in the eye, they spoke to me, and I spoke back to them. Ever since I've been here, I have to say that everyone in the facility has treated me with respect, with very limited exceptions, and those have been addressed immediately. So,
And that's wonderful because here you are making sure if you don't get that you speak up right away so that the people that might be overlooking it. And I always believe that anybody who chooses to work in long-term care really chooses to do it to help people. But sometimes they do get caught up in the day-to-day, and that
yeah,
task sometimes can get overwhelming as opposed to the person. And I always say you've got to remember the person. The task wouldn't exist without the person, and you need to
right,
make sure that you don't treat the person like you're doing a task.
right,
You want to make sure you're treating people as people. Um,
right,
I think that just feels like it's so important. And so I think, but every now and then people might need that bit of a reminder. Hey, slow down. I want to make sure that I'm being treated with that dignity that I deserve to have.
right, right. You're not pushing boxes, you're
Yes.
pushing people in their
Mhm.
wheelchair, so
Right.
it's humans, not, merchandise.
How does
So,
it feel when you don't get treated with that dignity and respect?
um, I start to get angry, and I start to get loud. And if I ultimately don't get that respect, I will just yell at them for them to leave the room, to get out, don't come back. And I will tell the director of nursing, the DON, that I don't want that CNA anymore. I've had to do that over the years, with different DONs and the current DON, that I don't want that CNA anymore. And they've accommodated me on that. Um, it, it it's something that you have to do if you're able to speak up for yourself. You have to speak up for yourself, because no one knows what you're feeling except for you, and nothing gets done if you don't say anything.
Mhm.
So,
Well said, Scott. Well said. Very well said. I think just listening to that, I think can help empower other people so that they can also make sure that they speak up for themselves. That's what's really needed for people to be able to speak up for themselves.
yeah,
I'm going to go ahead and move to the next slide. There we go. Wait, let me go back. I think I missed one. Nope. Okay. So the next one is your rights to safety. So those rights include not being abused, neglected, or exploited. Your right to make sure that the facility must ensure you're free from retaliation and discrimination in exercising your rights. That's a really important one. The facility has to provide you services to keep your physical and mental health at their highest practical levels. It must be safe, clean, comfortable, and home-like. You have to be free from physical or chemical restraints. Chemical restraints would mean overly psychotropic medicating somebody so that they cannot live that quality of their life that they really deserve to have. And also, we have another one in Illinois, which you have the right to purchase and use an electronic monitoring devices, which is basically like a camera that you can put in your room. So that way,
Hmm.
then a loved one can get in contact with you easily. They can be able to talk to you via monitor and things like that. And what I did put on the form, on the slide for everybody is the QR code, because there is a consent form that you need to fill out, and you provide that to the nursing home, and then you can bring in your electronic monitoring. And that can look like an Alexa device or like a nanny camera or something like that. So, Scott, for this, have you ever done
Yeah.
electronic monitoring? Did you ever have anything like that?
No, I never have. I always have my iPad in front of me, and I have my iPhone laying on my stomach. So my iPad's on the table in front of me. So I'm always in contact with someone every day. And I have put three people from family, being my daughter, my adult daughter, and a couple of a friend and um, a family member as people the facility needs to call if for some reason they can't get me to respond. I if something is happening and
Hmm.
they need somebody to make a decision. So, but to answer your question, no, I haven't had a electronic monitoring device.
Yeah, and not it's not everybody needs it, but some families like they might live far away, so they want to be able to see their loved one. It became more popular, if that's what you want to say, during the
Yeah.
pandemic. But we also do have information on that on the website for the Illinois Long-Term Care Ombudsman. There's information there if you just put in the search electronic monitoring device. And we've also done other resident family support councils on that, so you can also look at those on YouTube to be able to find out more about that if that's something that's of interest to you. Um,
Okay.
Retaliation. Have you ever felt retaliated against?
Mm. I No, I can't say I have in this facility. No.
That's wonderful because that is something that I know that people, and we hear all the time in long-term care, people are afraid to speak up, and there's a fear of retaliation. Sometimes it's not necessarily when they speak up, there's going to be retaliation, but there's always this underlying fear that if I speak up, then maybe somebody will not care for me the way I should be cared for. So that can be something I know that can be a concern. Just to
Yeah.
let you know, Scott, that we've got somebody in the chat just saying that they love that you stay social. They love the words that you're using. So I just wanted to
Oh,
make you aware that they're really enjoying
thank
what it is that you're talking about. So,
thank you. Thank you.
yes. Let's move on to the rights to participate in your own care. Now, this was one that you said was important to you. So, things to break
Yes.
that down a little bit more. You
Okay.
should have a person-centered care plan. Do you participate in your care plan? Do you know about your care
Um,
plan?
I I do, but I don't think about it on a quarterly basis. I think about it, to be honest, probably once a year,
Okay.
and I say something about it to my social services manager, and she'll get everyone together and we'll have that sort of meeting. So I don't think that I've had one um, this year, or
Mhm.
maybe it was at the beginning of the year. Um, but yeah, every 3 months. No, I have never had that.
So, and that is, you're speaking of what the rules say. The rules say that every 3 months, you're supposed to have a care plan meeting, and the care plan is supposed to be reviewed with the individual. And they can have anyone else they want to attend that meeting. They can have family attend that meeting. They could have the ombudsman can attend that meeting. They could even have another resident that there is their confidant and their friend, and join that meeting as well. Anybody at all that the individual would like can join that meeting. And what
Okay.
that care plan is all about is to help. It's almost like the directions for quality life. What is it that I need as my individual self, in order to be able to have the care and services that I need? So it should really be what they use that word person centered, person directed. That's what it really should be. And they should be offering it to you every 3 months. You can always say you don't want to attend the meeting, but it should be offered every 3 months. So, Scott, you might want to remind them just to ask you, and you can have that
Sure.
ability to say, no, I don't want it, but thank you for asking. Um,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to speak up about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's for some people, especially in the beginning, when you're first new to a building and your condition might even be changing, your needs might be changing, you become more aware of what it is that makes your life feel better and be better. It can be important to have these meetings. And I will tell you, the ombudsman uses the care plan as a tool many times as advocates to help make sure that things that people are requesting, specific person-centered requests, that they get into those care plans. And as we talk through some of the other rights, I'll give some examples of what that can look
Okay.
like. But
Okay.
it could be really a great tool because if it's in that care plan, it's got to happen. And that's the important part there. So it holds people to making sure that they're doing what it is that you're asking them to do.
Okay.
And these care plan meetings don't have to be you can also do them on your own time. Like Scott said, he's thinking he should probably be requesting a care plan meeting. It doesn't have to be every 3 months. The care plan that happens every 3 months is federally mandated, and all the goals need to be reviewed and updated. If you do a care plan meeting outside of that 3 month schedule, it can be just to review it, to add some additional things into it, to take some things out. But it doesn't have to be this formal care plan meeting that also went along with assessments that had to happen before that care plan meeting happened. Um, and just to know, everybody has the right to see that care plan. You could have a copy of that care plan. And I strongly
Oh,
advocate for people to get a copy of it. Have you
okay.
ever received a copy of your care plan?
No, I never have. I didn't know that was something I could ask for.
Yeah, and it's your records, it's your information. So that can be a good thing to have because then you can review it and say, no, don't take that out, put this in instead. So it
Yeah.
helps give you the ability to be more directive with it.
Yeah.
So it might be something you want to consider doing.
Okay.
People also know that you have the right to your own doctor. Now, what that can mean when you have a right to your own doctor is there are doctors that go to long-term care communities. So there might be a doctor, Scott, at your home. There might be 4 doctors that go to your home. And let's
Yeah.
say you had your own doctor out in the community before and you wanted to keep that doctor. You have the right to be
Oh,
able to keep that doctor.
okay.
But typically, there's a caveat around that because that doctor doesn't go to the home. So you would have to make your own appointments and get out to go see that doctor. So that can cause a little
Oh,
complications for people
r-
sometimes if they
right.
don't have the ability for that transportation. And sometimes the homes will help with the transportation and sometimes they won't. Just kind of depends on the homes themselves. But just for
Right.
everybody else to be aware, you've got the right to choose your own doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, and just I get the biggest thing about this is in your rights to participate in your own care is to know that you care plan is an important tool to use to be able to give the directions for your life, and that it's about you, and you should be able to make sure that it talks about you specifically. It does go on. There are some more rights in this category. You also have the right to discontinue, refuse, or even request any treatment or medication or anything like that that you might want or not want. And what
Yeah,
I've seen this play out where people might be taking a medication that and it upsets their stomach, so they don't want to take it anymore.
yeah. I have over the years, there's I have the habit of stopping certain medications because I wind up having so many medications I have to take throughout the day that I just got tired of swallowing it. So
Mm,
what I did this time around, earlier this year, instead of not taking pills, because I was on the verge of quitting again for a
mm.
while, I told them to um, crush up the pills and put them through my feeding tube.
Oh,
And they've done that. They do that in the morning. In the afternoon and the evening, I take those pills by mouth, because it's only a few pills. But
mhm.
when I've got 6 pills to take or something, even taking them one at a time, it's just still a lot to take.
Yeah, I can
So,
imagine.
yeah,
Well, that was a great idea that to do that because again, here you are speaking up for yourself, saying this is getting tiresome for me. There's got to be an alternative way to do this, and you found a great way to be able to do it so you can stay on your medication regime that you probably need to have.
yeah, yeah.
Good for
And
you.
I would say too, not only speaking up for yourself is important, but having family that can speak up for you as well, I found to be important as well. So,
You want to speak more on that?
well, let's see. My adult daughter has been a big part of my life, and she's my POA.
Hmm.
And there was a recent, um, some recent care, wound care, because my facility is a skilled nursing facility with wound care. And she was able to, um, oh,
Mm.
wait a minute. I'm sorry, Lee. One, there we go. Sorry about that. My screen was dimming.
That's okay.
Um, my daughter was able to help the doctors out with the care that I needed because they needed a second person. So, um, it was helpful.
Hmm.
My wife at the time, she knew everything that I needed, so that was helpful. And she could still to this day, I mean, we're friends, but she could still to this day tell you what my needs are, um, and what I don't like and what I do like. So it's important.
And you mentioned that power of attorney and having those representatives, those family members know who you are and what it is that you need. And I think that that's really the important thing because you have that right, as it says on the screen, to make a living will or durable power of attorney or any of those types of things. You have those rights. But those only jump into play when you can't speak for yourself any longer. So those conversations that you're having with your daughter and from your wife, your previous wife, they know what it is that you want, so that they'll be
Yeah,
able to, if you ever do lose your voice, to be able to speak
right.
up for you. And those are the important things I know. That people you don't just appoint people to do this stuff. Talk to them and make sure they know.
Exactly.
Yeah, really important
Exactly.
stuff. Yeah. And also, something that people might not always know is, you have the right to choose your activities and your schedules. And what that means is not activities, just an activity program, but it means like you're sleeping and waking up. So, you can sleep to when you want to sleep and go to bed when you want to go to bed. I know many nursing homes start waking people up very early in the morning. And that might not be something that I would want if I lived in a long-term care community. I might want to sleep in later. So I have the right to be able to tell people, you know what, don't wake me up until 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. Or I don't care if I miss breakfast. So you don't have to wake me up for breakfast because I'll just eat lunch and dinner and I'm all good with that. So for people to know that they can set their own sleeping and their sleeping schedules. I know going to bed at night also sometimes buildings will kind of shut down a lot, like after 7 o'clock. And I'm a person who likes to stay up till 10 o'clock. It's always, I'll catch that movie, that 2 hour movie after I have dinner or
Yeah.
something. And that, it's nice to be able to kind of veg out with that. And so know that people, you have those rights for anybody that might be listening to this. Do you get to choose your own schedule for waking and getting up and all of that, or is it pretty?
Um, yes, I do. I never have a problem with that. I've let them know a long time ago that I want to see what breakfast is, even if I don't eat it. I want to make the choice because I'll pick at it. I'll maybe eat the grits or I'll eat the omelet or or I'll eat the donut. It just depends on what it is. Or I will decide to not eat it. So,
Mm-hmm.
it but yeah, I we have the choice.
Good. Yeah, because sometimes people I don't think really realize that. And so that's information that we really want to make sure that people hear and understand. And I had also said previously about being able to get a copy of your care plan, but you can get a copy of any of your medical records. And you can just see it because nowadays these electronic medical records are stored on the computer and you can request even just to see it. And if you want to just see it, that you can do,
Yeah.
they have to be able to do that. But then you can also, and that should happen within 24 hours. But if you want to get a copy of it, that 2 working days is when they need to get that to you. But you may have to pay for that at a copy fee.
Okay.
So they can call, and so sometimes people don't understand the medical records may be really, really thick.
Right.
So they might want to say, well, I want a copy of just my care plan and maybe my medication records or my skincare records or whatever that may be, just to have those for your records. Because unfortunately, nursing homes are not like it is in the hospital where many of your records go into that portal, that Caremark portal or one of those types of things. So in order to have access to those, you need to ask for copies of that stuff. So anybody has that right as well. So just want to make sure that you're aware of that. Okay, let's go on to the next right, which is your right to privacy and confidentiality. And this again is your medical records to be very private. Staff have to knock before entering your room. Do they do that for you, Scott? Are they not? Do the people knock before they come into your room?
Um, some do, um, and I sometimes I notice it, sometimes it bothers me and I'll say something. If they don't,
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell the CNA directly, oh, and they'll say, "Oh, I knocked, you just didn't hear it." But they didn't knock, you
Well,
know.
and I think sometimes they do the knock and roll, is what I see. They knock on the door as they're walking in the room,
Right.
not giving you the opportunity to say, come in or not come in.
Right, right. So, yeah, but overall, this facility, with me, the nurses will knock when they come in. Um, like I said, some CNAs do, some CNAs don't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, and sometimes people again just need that reminder because again they're starting to get task focused and they forget that this is your home. That room is your home.
right.
And That's your private space. And so be respectful, knock on my door, ask me permission to come in, just like you would in my home. People don't knock on my door and walk in for the most part,
Yeah.
unless it's my mother or my kids. But they typically, when they're coming in, they're announcing that they're there as well, which is important.
Right. Right.
Um, Also, people have the right to visits, and those visits can happen 24 hours a day. Most nursing homes do have visiting hours on, they might have them listed, but people can visit, oops, sorry, people can visit at any time. And so this could even be that late at late night. I know when I was an acting nursing home administrator at one point in my life, we had a family member who worked the late shift and they got off of work very late at night, like 11 o'clock. By the time they got there, it was 11:30, 12 o'clock, and they just wanted to come and give mom a kiss goodnight every night. And so our doors were locked after 8 o'clock, just like we would in our own houses, make sure we keep everybody safe. But we had a doorbell, and the doorbell would connect to the nurse's station. So they would ring the doorbell, the nurse would come and open the door for the individual. He could go and give his mom a kiss goodnight and be on his merry way. So those are the things that can happen, which was wonderful. Those are the things we want to make sure that people can still do those types of things. The thing would be is you don't want to disrupt if someone has a roommate, disrupt that roommate. You might have to leave the room if you're actually going to have some visits, and
Right.
really visit with people. But that's it should be just like your home. You can have company if you want company, anytime you want to have that company. Um, Also making and receiving phone calls, you could do those in private. And now you do have a cell phone, so you can pretty much do
Yes.
it probably on your own. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Because of my multiple sclerosis, I am a quadriplegic now. It's progressed to that.
mm,
So I use my voice to do everything,
it's
and
amazing.
that is to make phone calls, type emails, create messages. Um, but yeah, I do have an iPhone sitting on my chest. It always is there. Those
And
two devices stay with me all the time.
technology is amazing. It really is amazing. And for people that may be experiencing things like, like you, Scott, there is entity out called the Illinois Assisted Technology Program, and they're available to help anybody that may have any needs in regards to their physical inability to be able to help enhance them so that you can do things. There are some amazing, amazing things there. We've done a resident and family support council on this as well, where we actually went there and we did a live demonstration of the variety of products. And they're just the people that you could call and say, I'm struggling with this, and they will help you. If they can't create a device, if they don't have a device for it, they have a 3D printer. Well, they'll create a device for you. So it is an amazing thing. Have you ever used that, Scott? The Illinois?
Yeah, yeah. You told me how to get in contact with them. I can't, and that was a couple of years ago, and I can't remember what exactly I needed them for, but you had suggested that I give them a call, which I did,
Hmm.
and they provided me with some sort of device that I needed. Oh, I think back then I was still able to move my arms so I could put like an electronic pencil in my hand, my hands are like closed fists.
Uh-huh.
And they could put the pencil in my hand and I was able to touch the screen to swipe and navigate. Um, and um they helped me with that. So
Oh,
yeah,
good.
I found them to be very useful. I haven't um, used them again, but I probably could um, use them again if I thought about it hard enough.
Yeah, because there may even be new apps out there that they could get for you for your iPad, or if your iPad is failing, they may be able to assist with that. Sometimes our iPads get overloaded with things and they don't work as well as they used to. But they're really a wonderful resource, and I really encourage anybody who has any physical needs, or my mother, I got these. Um, my mother is extremely hard of hearing, and I got speakers for her that she can put on the back of her chair, because the
Yeah,
captions don't always come out right on the TV, especially when you're
right.
watching the news, or something live. So she can hear so well. It's just changed the quality to her life. I just
Mm,
think they're an amazing organization, and I really like to encourage people. So if anybody's interested in anything along those lines, please reach out to me and I can help get you connected. And remember, Scott, as you know, as any of your needs might change, always remember that they're there and you could talk things
okay.
through with them, what any of your struggles are, and they can help you. They might help you be able to problem solve things.
Okay.
And one of the things that they also do is they have a lending program as well. So it could even just be lift chairs. Many people might need a lift chair as they're getting older. And they have those that they'll let you just borrow and then sometimes even just give it to you. But the idea is that you give it back to them when you no longer need that, which is so that they could pass it on to somebody else, which is again another really great depository that they have. So let's go on and look at your rights regarding money when it comes to money.
Okay.
So you have the right to manage your own money. The facility must not require you to let them manage your money or be your Social Security representative payee. So they can't require that. But if you want them to be that, you can. And when you're there long term, sometimes it can be an easier way to do it for yourself. So if you ask the facility to manage your money, it may only spend your money with your permission. So it must give you a current, itemized written statement at least once every 3 months, and it must put your money in a bank account that earns interest for you. And that is if you're on Medicaid, it helps pay for your care at the facility, and then and if you have over $50, they will be interest bearing. Or if you receive Medicaid and you have over $100, they'll put it in an interest bearing account for you. So you do have to and they keep every account separate. They don't commingle the money. It will be separate for each individual. So sometimes that can help give people some peace of mind so they don't have to manage their own money, but knowing that they are still getting an interest rate on that money. Um, and also just know that you can always see your financial record at any time that you would like to see that.
Okay.
Curious, are they managing your money for you, or do they?
Yeah, so for many, many years here, I get um my SSDI. I would get once a month,
Hmm.
and I would get that into my checking account, and then I would give that over to the facility minus the at the time minus the $30 that you would get for your $60 now.
Yeah,
uh
yeah, what's the name of that? Why can I not remember? Your personal
Personal
allowance.
needs
Yeah, personal needs
allowance.
allowance. There we go.
Yeah,
Personal needs allowance. We can look
yeah.
at. Yeah.
And so I would I would do that, and then finally I think it was at the beginning of this year or the middle of last year where I finally said, why not let the facility do it? And I gave them all the information they needed, and I it was a seamless process, and I haven't had to deal or remember to make sure that they get paid because they're automatically getting my SSDI
Uh-huh.
uh, from the government, and they're paying the nursing home bill.
Yeah, and that can be an easier way, especially when you're long term, because it's one less burden for you to have to deal with.
Yeah,
But people get worried about that. That's why you get to see that financial record anytime. So,
yeah.
you can even ask for it if you want to see it monthly to make sure that they're not taking other money out in any way. So
Yeah,
know
no,
that you can.
Now
Good.
that's one thing that I haven't done often, and that was to see the financial record, just being honest. They I'll ask for it, um, and I'll ask, what do I have in my account? And they'll just tell me, because if they bring up a piece of paper, it, I would have to have somebody hold it up to my face and I read it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's easier for them to just tell me what the bottom line is,
Mm-hmm.
and I can make my decisions from there,
Uh-huh.
you know. So,
Good. Well, they could also always email it to you if you wanted it emailed to you, so you
oh
had a
yeah,
copy of it yourself. Know that.
yeah,
Say, hey, email it to me so I could have it so you could go over it when you wanted to go over it.
right.
Let's just talk now about personal property rights. So you have the right to wear and keep your own clothing, to keep and use your own property. You have the right to expect your facility to have a safe place where you can keep valuables. And if you get anything lost, the facility must try to keep your property from that happening, and they have to try to find it if it does get lost. That can be a big one for people, getting things
Yeah,
lost. Getting things lost, particularly in the laundry. We hear that all
yeah.
the time. So that can be something that can be difficult. So I know many people that have family members do laundry, or they'll do it themselves if there's a laundry washing machine and dryer in the community. But I'm sure you've experienced this through the course of your 9 years at some point.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm I'm I had um a jacket, not a jacket, but just kind of like a hoodie jacket, a zip up
Mhm.
hoodie. It said USMC for United States Marine Corps when I was in the Marine Corps. Um and and I don't have it anymore. It's been 2 weeks now, and I don't know where it is. It's not in the room. Um, and I don't know if it was swept up with the other linens and it's downstairs.
Mhm.
But I've got tomorrow. I'm going to ask about it
And
down.
remember, you've got your ombudsman there also, but you're empowered. I know you can do it, but if you need
Yeah,
Beverly to stay on them, she's a very good advocate in that regard. She'll make sure she stays on it for you till you get that back.
right.
And many times the facility will also replace it, but I'm sure that that has value and meaning to you when it's such a personal item that a replacement sometimes doesn't just make the grade as good as, the original item that you had. So,
I mean, it can be bought. I mean, I looked at Amazon what the price was, and it was what, $47. Um,
okay.
so
Is it on your inventory list?
it I think it is on my inventory list.
Yeah.
Um,
I heard Beverly bring that point up. It's really
yeah,
important.
I
Yeah.
think it is because um with the inventory, um with the guest services here, um, we've gone through all of my items, so I I just need to bring it up to the guest services person. Uh,
And just to explain for those that might be listening, an inventory list is something when you first move into a long-term care community, you put on that list everything that you brought with you. And what that does is that helps in case anything comes up missing. And the piece, typically people do a good job on it when they first come in, but then they start to get a gift here or there, or they shop and they bought something for themselves
yeah,
and they forget to put it on the inventory list. You want to
yeah,
make sure you're always putting any new items onto that inventory list so that you can show and prove that you did have that. And it wasn't just
right.
something, that you conjured up out of thin air. So,
No, right, right.
and I see that you've got a beautiful headboard behind you. Is
Oh,
that true?
oh, that's the facility. Yeah, it's nice. Um, I don't notice it because I can't see it. But but yeah, it's not bad looking.
Because I was thinking that that might have been yours that you brought with you, but
Oh, no,
so
it's part of the facility.
that's very nice. That's
Yeah,
very nice that they
every
have that.
every bed has a headboard, so it's
And
one
but
or
people
two
can
beds.
bring, you can bring in some of your own, your own personal property. I know sometimes if a room can have the space to do it, if it doesn't impede upon their roommate, if they have a roommate, um, space, you can bring a chair in, and of course, any pictures or any posters or any signage that you may want. You always have the right to be able to have that as well. So help personalize that space for you because it is your home. So have you personalized your space through the course of the years?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, um I've got
Shit all over, stuff all over.
but I've got
Stuff all over.
fake plants that look real. They fool people because they look real. Some people are fooled.
Oh,
I've got a stuffed animal up top. I've got pictures. I've got a fake Christmas tree
There
up
you go.
top there that lights up if you put in the AA batteries. So, yeah,
That's good. So
yeah,
good. So it's your space. It's your
yeah,
space.
yeah. It's my side of the room.
Yeah, and the last right that we're going to go over right now is your right to stay in the facility. So this is something that people get fearful of. If I complain, they're going to try to kick me out. That retaliation that might happen, but that can't happen. Know that anybody that when you move into a long-term care community, the only reasons why you could be quote unquote kicked out is if you're a danger to yourself or others. Your needs can't be met by the facility. Your health has improved and you no longer need the services of the long-term care facility. You haven't paid your bill after reasonable notice or the building closes. So those are the reasons why you can leave. You could be asked. My boy keeps jumping on me. You could be asked to leave your community, but it can't just happen overnight. It's a 30-day notice. They've got to give you written notice of this. They've got to tell you that you can call the ombudsman for assistance with that. You can appeal that at any time, and then a hearing will happen. And these hearings are virtual, so it's not like you're going to have to go to a location. It will happen via phone or Zoom. And so you do have those rights. You can't just be kicked out of a home just like that. I want to make sure that everybody's fully aware of that. And we've done meetings on that as well for our resident and family support council. So the rights, just explore those rights. The other thing under here is also you have the right to be choosing your roommate. And the right to be able to, if your room is going to be changed, you have to be told in advance and in writing why it's going to be changed. Also know about hospitalization. If you get hospitalized, they have to let you back. So people sometimes get fearful. I've been out to the hospital and the home's telling me I can't be back. If you're there for 10 days or less, you get to have the same room that you were discharged from. If you're there for more than 10 days, you might not have that same room, but they have to give you the bed that the first available bed that's there. So know that again, you can't be kicked out when you go to the hospital. These are important rights, and I want to just encourage everybody to make sure that we go through that you do more advanced on that and talk with your ombudsman. They can always help you. The last thing on the screen right now is your rights as a citizen and a facility resident. And I'm just going to go through those since we're at the 4 o'clock hour. You don't lose your rights as any citizen because you live in a nursing home. If the court has a law, if a court of law has appointed a legal guardian for you, the guardian may exercise your rights for you. If you've named an agent under the power of attorney for healthcare, your agent may exercise your rights for you. You have the freedom of religion, the freedom to vote, to participate in community and social events, to participate in resident council meetings, to see all inspections that are by the Illinois Department of Public Health, to meet with the long-term care ombudsman or any other groups that you want to meet with. You have the right to complain to your facility and get a prompt response. and you should not be retaliated against or threatened or punished in any way. And if for any reason you're not experiencing any of those rights, there's some numbers on the screen for you. The long-term care ombudsman number, that's the general number. If you call that, you will get connected to your local program. And there's also Equip for Equality. If people have any mental illness or developmentally disabled, they're another advocate for that. And then if you wanted to lodge a complaint against the with the Illinois Department of Public Health, there's the number for that as well. So I'm just going to go on to the last screen that we have, just to say, if anybody again would like a copy of that residence right booklet, please do feel free to email me at my first and last name at illinois.gov, which is lee.moriarty@illinois.gov. Scott, do you have any parting words
Yes.
that you would like to share with us?
Um, I guess I would say that if I had to do it all over again, I would speak up for myself more early on. I would say what I needed. I would say what's good, what's not good. Um, I would speak up for myself more. I didn't do that a lot. I just went with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still taken care of because I was put in a good place. But I can imagine that it could have gone the other way. And if I didn't speak up for myself, uh, my we probably wouldn't be having this conversation uh, because I would just be in a different frame of mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and that's, and I think that that's really great parting words. You do have to feel comfortable and confident in speaking up for yourself. Because if you don't, like you said, no one else is going to, right, Scott?
Right.
You gotta be your own advocate. But if you're leery about that, do reach out to your ombudsman. Ombudsmen are there to help guide you through the system, guide you through the process, help talk things over with you. They can go with you to lodge a complaint with somebody or to talk about a concern. They can help coach you if you want to go talk to somebody on your own. You can practice with them, or they could even speak up for you if you're not comfortable in doing it for yourself. So that's what the ombudsmen are here for. I want to wish everybody a happy Residents' Rights Month. Scott, I want to thank you so much. Beverly, I
Thank
want to
you.
thank you too. Thank you so much. I'm going to end the recording of the meeting right now, but I'll go ahead